15 presidential mysteries that were never solved. Everybody enjoys a good puzzle or mystery, but what about those fantastic mysteries that don't have that gratifying climax like Scooby-Doo tearing the mask off the culprit and instead just plain spooky? These events, such as the investigation into the death of John Benet Ramsey and the murders committed by Jack the Ripper, have shaken up our historical records for the better part of a century. All of these mysteries are confusing, odd, and unsettling, and it is extremely irritating that none of them have been answered. So hey viewers, welcome back to Crime Point, and today we'll discuss 15 presidential mysteries that were never solved. So are you guys excited? And without any further delay, let's dive into the video. Before that, make sure you please hit that bell icon and subscribe to the channel so you get every single update from our channel. Even the presidents are not exempt from being confronted with strange occurrences or perplexing dilemmas. So here are some presidential mysteries that were never solved. The first one on our list is about President Truman. Is it possible that President Truman hit a UFO? John Quincy Adams believed the Earth was hollow, according to Congressional archives. If only Congressional records could reveal if Harry S. Truman believed aliens landed in Roswell, New Mexico, or if he ordered a cover-up. In July 1947, the military announced a UFO crash landed in the Roswell desert, but the next day they said it didn't happen. President Harry S. Truman reportedly visited Roswell to see the crash site. Did our 33rd president organize America's largest UFO cover-up? Next is about the Watergate scandal. What was really on the Watergate tapes that went missing? President Richard M. Nixon secretly recorded 3,700 hours of conversations he wasn't supposed to be recording between February 1971 and July 1973, including those that became the basis of the Watergate scandal. When the existence of the tapes became public during the scandal, it was quickly discovered that the 18.5-minute conversation between Nixon and his chief of staff, Bob Haldeman, was nothing more than audio feedback. Multiple attempts over the years to recover what has become known as the missing audio have been futile, and no one knows for certain what Nixon and Haldeman were discussing. Based on the audio that isn't missing, the missing audio could have been extremely prejudicial. Here comes our next mystery. Mrs. Harding poisoned Warren G. Harding? President Warren G. Harding died on August 2, 1923, while his wife Florence read him an article from the Saturday Evening Post. Doctors had warned Harding, a serial philanderer, that his ticker might not be able to withstand all the excitement, but Florence's refusal to allow an autopsy fueled speculation that she had poisoned him. Another theory, based on a review of Harding's deteriorating health in the days leading up to his death, is that our 29th president died of an ordinary heart failure at the age of 57. Our fourth mystery is, between October 1919 and January 1920, who was in charge of the United States? President Woodrow Wilson suffered a stroke in October 1919, and it was kept secret for another 4 months. Even then, no official statement was issued regarding Wilson's health or ability to carry out his duties and powers as president. People began to suspect that our 28th president wasn't all there and that his wife Edith was actually running the country. In fact, she was most likely the first woman to do so, but this was kept from the American public for many years after Woodrow's death. As these 43 facts about presidential spouses demonstrate, Edith was not our only impressive first lady. Let's move on to the next mystery. Was James Buchanan the first gay president of the United States? James Buchanan is the country's only bachelor president. While his niece played the role of First Lady, his long-term roommate was a man. Some argue that Buchanan, who took office in 1857, was our first gay president. Others believe there is no doubt. This includes historian Jim Lewin, who claims Buchanan was not only gay, but that his sexual orientation was not even hidden at the time. There is no first-person evidence to back this up because Buchanan's personal correspondence was destroyed after his death at Buchanan's request. The next mystery is the famous John F. Kennedy's missing brain. John F. Kennedy, the assassination of JFK remains shrouded in mystery and unanswered questions, and one reason we may never know for certain what happened is that JFK's brain went missing sometime after his autopsy. As a result, any questions that arose as a result of the House Assassination Committee's investigation, questions that might have required investigators to re-examine JFK's brain, are effectively unanswerable forever. So who stole JFK's brain, and why is that? Next mystery is Franklin D. Roosevelt. Yes, a stroke, but why? Nobody denies that President Franklin D. Roosevelt died of a stroke on April 12, 1945. What remains unknown is whether his stroke was caused by coronary artery disease or by metastatic cancer that had spread to his brain. Lots of evidence points to cancer, including his general frailty and weight loss near the end of his life, as well as a spot on his forehead that some medical professionals identify as melanoma by sight, and that vanished from photos of our 32nd president after 1940. But answers remain elusive to this day. James A. Garfield, death by bullet or by malpractice? James A. Garfield is believed to be the second of 4 presidents to be assassinated by gunshot. The passage of time, however, has gradually shed light on what truly killed Garfield, who was conscious after the July 2nd, 1881 shooting and lived for another 79 days. It turns out that it wasn't the bullet that killed him, but rather the doctor who was treating him. Unable to find the bullet, the doctor probed Garfield's wound several times a day with unsterile fingers and improvised devices until Garfield died of sepsis. An autopsy confirmed that the bullet did not kill him. Grover Cleveland, gone fishing? Our 22nd and 24th president, Grover Cleveland, did not die in office, but his whereabouts in June 1893 were a bit of a mystery. Cleveland had gone fishing for a few days, but in reality, he was undergoing oral surgery to remove a tumor from his palate. The story leaked later that summer, but Cleveland denied it. Cleveland's doctor confirmed the surgery but remained vague about the diagnosis after Cleveland died of a heart attack in 1908. A re-examination of the tissue removed from Cleveland's palate in 1980 revealed he had a non-fatal form of cancer. The assassination of Abraham Lincoln, a Confederate plot? Historians and the general public agree that Abraham Lincoln was assassinated by actor John Wilkes Booth, who was involved in a plot to murder the 16th president with a small group of anarchists. People have questioned Booth's ability to pull off such a massive crime since that fateful night. Given the Union's recent victory over the Confederacy, suspicions were directed at Confederate leaders such as Jefferson Davis, as well as the pro-slavery secret society, the Knights of the Golden Circle. Could Booth have been the first patsy? It appears that we'll never know. William Henry Harrison talked himself to death? William Henry Harrison suffered greatly. Fate was unkind to our 9th president, who served only 31 days before dying on April 4, 1841. But history has been even harsher, attributing Harrison's death to pneumonia contracted while delivering his 2-hour inauguration speech, the longest in history, outside in the freezing rain. While catching a chill can lead to pneumonia, new evidence points to typhus, which is spread through sewage-contaminated water and which he most likely contracted by drinking White House water. Did Thomas Jefferson father children with one of his slaves? Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, which catalyzed the anti-slavery campaign, but also owned slaves. Since Jefferson took office in 1801, 5 years after Martha's death, it's been a mystery if he fathered as many as 6 children with his slave, Sally Hemings. In the late 20th century, DNA testing confirmed a high chance that Jefferson fathered all of Hemings' children. However, some assume the children were fathered by Jefferson's younger brother, Randolph. Chester Arthur, was he actually Canadian? Vermont claims Chester Arthur, our 21st president, as its own, but so does Canada. According to Boston.com, the focus on his place of birth became an issue in the 1880 presidential campaign when Arthur was tapped to be Garfield's running mate. Republican bosses, according to historical accounts, wanted him to provide proof of his birthplace, but he never did. Did Bill Clinton have his enemies offed? Since the 1990s, stories have persisted that Bill and Hillary Clinton killed persons who had information against them: Seth Rich, Vince Foster, and James McDougal. Snopes builds a rational case against the claim, like the trouble is that proving a negative is virtually impossible. For those who don't believe the rumors, the mystery will never be solved unless the rumors are proven real. Zachary Taylor, death by cherries? Zachary Taylor is another president whose untimely death in office in 1850 has been gently mocked. He is said to have died after indulging in an imprudent amount of cherries with milk. However, the peculiarity of the circumstances has given rise to the theory that his death was a homicide by arsenic poisoning. Taylor's body was exhumed in 1991 and tested negative for arsenic, putting an end to that theory. It is still unknown what caused the death. So I think we're at the end of the video for today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, if you did, make sure you please give this video a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and make sure you press that bell icon too so you never miss any update. Hey, thanks for watching.